I think you got hit in the head or something. Here we are again. Power and Speed. This ought to be a great show. 908-751-0211 if you want to call in. Link should be up on Mixlr. Everybody can jump in and listen if you haven't already. And, somebody brought up something. And, by the way, I got Tom, Crunch, and Thaddeus in studio.
Thaddeus?
We'll get into you later.
Get into that, sure.
iTunes.
Yeah.
iTunes is kind of a strange environment.
Okay.
Because
shit show?
No, it's just for the car guys, there's not a lot there. If you want to download a podcast to listen to the exhaust note of a Ford GT 500, you can find it, 20-second podcast of an exhaust note. But there are some racing shows, but there's not really much like us. I think the iTunes people, they're like, maybe the Apple people are a little out there. I'm not really sure. So
they are.
I do know that we have a fair amount of downloads.
Yep.
So the one guy, what was his name? Do you remember?
Which guy?
On
From Michigan?
Facebook. I don't know. He said tell people to like you on iTunes. It'll help.
I don't remember his name.
All right. Okay. Well, there's a guy on Facebook that we should know. We don't.
I got to look it up now.
And he wanted people to like us. So if you download us on iTunes, if you follow the podcast on iTunes, just go in there, write a review, thumbs up. Well, I don't even know what it has. I don't think I've ever rated a podcast,
right.
But it's certainly beneficial. So we're trying, guys.
But they can go to our Power and Speed Facebook page too and like us.
Yep.
Just because.
But does any of that shit do anything?
No, it doesn't. But at least we know they're listening and they could.
So what we know,
they could hate on us.
We know people are listening. And by the way, Utah's stepped up substantially.
Oh,
really?
Wow.
Yep.
How so?
I think
I'm
they're
excited.
at 12.
I'm excited.
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
there's only like 19 people in Utah.
There's quite a few more than that.
Well, that beats 0.
Yeah, no, it's nice that they've come up. It really is. You know what's really big? Like Texas. Is Texas big car place?
Yeah.
Huge
drag
cars,
racing
trucks, drag racing,
Texas
everything.
Mile.
Yeah, true.
I'm going there Thursday.
Are you?
Yeah. Dallas, Texas Invitational.
Are you going to be back for Monday? Or is it going to be one of these things you spring up on?
Yes, boss. I'll be back Monday.
Did you take the limiter off the minivan to get that extra top end, or?
Oh,
Wow. We're going to go to the minivan?
All right. Well, Tom is gonna. He did say in the last episode that you would have the legendary Subaru back.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
What happened?
Didn't get finished.
Okay. So did you have to drive the minivan to your Subaru?
No.
Okay.
No, I went up in a Chevy Avalanche.
Okay. I thought maybe you had a wedding party pick you up on the way there.
Couldn't do it. What kind of wedding party, Mike?
Just, same. It was probably held in Asbury this weekend.
man.
New Hope.
A New Hope? Okay. So how was your Subaru show?
It was pretty good. I can't, as much as I want to, and believe me, I do, I want to hate on some Subaru people because I did feel like I lost 30 IQ points up there.
I think that qualifies as hatred.
Oh, they might not get it.
That's definitely hatred.
But it was good. It was a good show. There's a lot of people there. Surprisingly, I guess this is going to be hatred. We got asked some really, really stupid questions by really stupid guys.
Well, were you there in your job capacity?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh no, we had. I was there with a customer, and we had a full on display. We were there to promote our product and answer questions. And man, we got some dumb questions. But these guys, as dumb as they are, there was a surprisingly large amount of hot women there.
Well, that's import in general, not the hot one, just the idiots.
Yeah, I think. Well, you know why?
No,
this is going to sound messed up, but I got to say it.
From you?
Well, yeah, more than usual.
Okay, go.
The import scene generally tends to be populated with younger people, and for the most part, younger women are a little more attractive.
Yeah, I guess you would know a little bit about that.
Yes, I've dabbled.
Lord.
Okay. So no, what I'm saying is you're getting, the 21, 22-year-old prime of their lives, women, instead of the, round the block 30 times 40-year-old that's going with her husband at a drag strip. No offense to the round the block 40-year-old.
No, and I'm sure none taken.
No.
This is going left.
Cut any hookups there.
Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
So, I mean, yeah, you get look, if you're watching some kind of TV show about, beach girls, they're not 50-year-old women.
Well, are you saying that the Subarus are for the younger generation, and then the young girls follow that?
I got to tell you, I wouldn't have expected.
I thought the Subarus were for like.
No, I don't think age comes into it. The show itself was a lot more younger people.
Yeah,
But Subarus in general, everybody. It's
I thought the Subarus were like a step up from the soccer mom van. That's what I thought. I didn't.
Well, they are.
He just straight up hated on me.
No, I'm saying I didn't know. I didn't know. I mean, I saw your Camaro. I mean, you're a very modern tech type of dude, hot rod enthusiast. But
He keeps on going.
the Subaru, like for you to want a Subaru, you have to be like just jumped out of soccer mom van and said, "I'm tired of this," and get a Subaru.
Yeah, and very
All-wheel
confident
drive.
in your orientation.
Right, and his is the first one I've seen souped up.
Yeah, well, no, I've seen a lot of them. I've
Yeah,
seen,
they are.
and honestly, Tom's is pretty cool because you
the
don't
Tom's is
see
hot.
you don't see a lot of them.
You
So,
see a lot of Foresters is the thing, but
yeah, I just couldn't imagine you being a Subaru guy. I just
Well,
don't
I know
how it happened.
I couldn't either. I mean, I had the CTSV, and Subaru became such a big part of our business.
Yeah.
I just figured I would give one a shot, and it's a good calling card. Did something completely different, and believe it or not, all kidding aside, it does work.
Yeah.
Because when you pull into a Subaru shop with that kind of car, they
every time I take Mike out mine, I'd blow off an intercooler hose or something like that, so it didn't look good to him. So
well,
that thing was goofy, Todd.
the fact that yours only makes 45 pounds of torque doesn't help.
Yeah, I mean that thing was I'm sorry, dude. That thing was a bag of shit to try to drive that thing around. Oh my god, that stupid clutch take you 30 shots to get out into the highway. I mean that thing.
no,
was-
that clutch is gone. I changed that. Trust me.
yeah, but it's and
You
it
still have the Subaru?
Yeah, it's parked somewhere.
Listen, if you had a 4-wheel drive truck in 4-wheel drive and had 4 slick tires on it and tried to, do circles in a parking lot, that's what that thing was like. It was ridiculous.
I made the Detroit locker mistake is the reason, but
A series of mistakes with you. Series.
it was fun.
Now, because they're a younger crowd,
Yep.
I'm trying to get some of these stupid questions out here.
Go.
Because realistically, it's not hatred, but it shows like level of inexperience of the people that are messing with the cars.
It was almost like some of the people came prepared with the dumbest question they could possibly ask.
Mm.
I'll give you one example. I got to give you 2 examples. One wasn't even a question. A guy came over and he had a piston and rod in his hand. One of you picked it up and he's looking at it. And he says to his buddy, "Is this a cylinder head?"
No, you got to be
And
kidding.
no,
Tom.
shit you not. And we got a cylinder head guy next to us. I mean, literally 5 feet away under our own tents, right? But I went there with Dave from Head Games, who's going to be on our show. He wants to be on our show when we can fit him in. He'll
And
be-
he is a cylinder head guy, obviously, by his name.
Yes, yeah. And he's very well respected throughout the world, actually. So anyway, the guy, his friends start hating on him. He puts the piston and rod down, walks 5 feet, and Dave laughingly says, "Listen, buddy, this is a cylinder head. That's a piston and rod you were holding." And I mean, the kid's friends are hating on him, because he's so dumb.
But when you got guys that don't know any better, like Brian's friend Rob, I got to talk about this.
Go.
His friend Rob Unetti used to help us with the race car. Good dude, really good dude. Got a good heart. He was helping us clean out like a bunch of old crap from the shop. Probably in preparation, knowing at some point we were gonna get out of there. And he didn't know the names of certain things. So, like a connecting rod was a piston neck. Because he knew the piston went on top. And because he's up in the attic looking through some of this stuff. And then he says, "I got a whole bunch of piston heads." And I said, "Piston heads? Yeah, they go on top of a neck." And I'm like, holy shit.
Wow.
But, to the guys that don't know any better,
Yeah.
valves were little trumpets.
Wow.
But that's, when guys aren't, or they're learning, they got to start somewhere. But I will tell anybody that's listening that is learning, do not use Google.
No.
Do not try to get answers to anything
Wow.
on Google.
Well, you'll get answers.
Oh, yeah, you'll get answers.
I use Google for everything.
You
You
got to
better be careful.
Well, just not.
Yeah,
with
but you
car
gotta-
shit.
car
You got to
parts.
post the question correctly.
No, because if you post the question correctly, there's either some guy who wants to be a dickhead and give you the wrong answer, or there's some guy that's smarter than everybody else on the planet that wants to give you some technical explanation. And when you read through it, it's completely wrong. And then you got the guy that says, "You're all idiots," gives you the right answer and leaves. Nobody gives him any credit because he
Yeah.
didn't give some kind of big post that everybody thought would make sense.
Well, wait a minute. Let's give Thaddeus a little credit. because he does know a little bit about search criteria.
Tad.
He was able to find the teabagging clown.
Oh,
I didn't find that.
Oh, here we go.
I'm not going to say it found me.
I didn't found it.
I was just
And
on
I'm
a,
gonna tell
I was
you-
just on a board. It was there. I was like, I have to. It's
You felt you had to have it.
I had to have
That's a cute story.
I do not ever want that to show up on our Facebook page.
Yeah, we can't
Ever.
we can't pick the photo of the
I won't put it on
Yes.
there. But on texting, it works fine.
Listen, I mean, I don't care
Yeah.
how you ask a question on the internet. You're going to get people that are going to
Yeah.
give you stupid answers. For instance, okay, we're going to get a little bit into this,
Do it.
and it's a pet peeve of mine because old customers still call me and say, "Hey, my motor broke." Yeah, what broke? I don't know.
Mhm.
Something.
Well, can you give me a better idea? Other than doesn't start, doesn't run. So then after fishing around, like, well,
There's a hole in the pan.
Yeah.
yeah, my guy said.
Yeah.
My guy said a bearing went bad. We had a bad bearing. I said, you didn't have a bad bearing. Something else caused the bad bearings the effect of whatever.
Yeah,
was.
Of
right,
your missed shift or something like that.
Yeah, well, clearance, whatever. So I just,
Oil pump belt.
yeah,
That's always a good one.
yeah, always a good one.
Overheating.
Everything. Low on oil, especially with the circle track
Yeah.
guys.
No oil.
Yeah.
He said no.
Didn't put oil. Yeah. That's happened.
Yep.
Didn't put oil in.
Very rarely are there really, I mean, it happens, but it's not parts failures by today's standards, pretty slim.
Right.
And with bearings, I personally can't tell you that I've ever once experienced a failure that I would say, must be a bad bearing. There's always a reason.
Right.
So I just did a quick Google of bearing clearance. And I don't remember the exact search criteria because I'd like everybody to do it. Now, one of the things that I read, they wanted you to take a bearing, measure the thickness of the bearing, have the rod torqued, measure the diameter of the rod inside, and then measure the crank. And they're telling you to use 3 pieces of equipment to do this: an inside mic, an outside mic, and a ball mic. Well, not only are you just looking for trouble, because
Yep.
now you're asking somebody to think and do math properly, even if they had a calculator, button push, anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting with, you've got a stacking set of errors. If you're one mic, if you don't have a standard that you've used on everything, every one, it's never going to work. You could have differences in how the bearing performs under crush.
Right.
There's so many things that could happen.
Not to mention
Well,
the tools have to be true.
Not to mention
Right,
that
right.
they have to know how to use a micrometer in the first place.
Exactly. You got some guy who's got a torque wrench on the end of
Yeah.
it to clamp it down and crushes into the bearing. And I mean, I read this and I'm like, this is like if somebody was, and look, we use Google for everything.
Sure.
If somebody wanted to sit down and learn how to do something like Cruncher said, I use it for everything. Well, I hope nobody's trying to build a space shuttle from Google because it ain't never making it.
No, it won't fly.
It's bad.
Google's good for like fried chicken recipes and shit like that.
Yeah,
Not for car stuff.
Yeah, I got the recipe for lasagna from
Nice.
Google
Okay.
yeah.
I'll go with that.
to make Alfredo sauce. I Googled it.
I would go with that.
And then the worst thing is that like you read an article like this, somebody will read it who frequents a forum somewhere, and then they'll repost it. Like this is the right way to do it. Or it's sound the most technical. They've
Yeah.
measured everything, so it's right. Listen, goofball, put the bearing inside the rod, torque the rod, measure the crank, go to a mic vise, put the mic you just measured the crank with, put your dial bore gauge inside the mic, and then go right to the rod. No error. The thing you set it with is the thing you're measuring from. It's easy. Easy.
The difference between the two is one answer.
Yeah, and you're looking at a real number
Yeah,
on the dial
you're
bore
looking
gauge.
at the number.
It's
Yep.
done.
Well, it's a yes, no.
Well, you're looking at the answer on the
Yeah.
gauge.
I would rather see people with plastic gauge than the way that I read it.
Well,
Detailed.
I would
as
agree.
compared
I would
to
agree with
yeah.
that
Well,
because plastic gauge is not it's not off that much all the time.
right. Now, let me just say this. I've been to shops where they do rear ends and install the gears.
Mhm.
And I've seen some pretty dynamic things going on with different tools. And then I've been to a very reputable shop and the guy put it all together and he put his ear to it. He said, come listen. And he did a few clicks. He said, that's it. Put it together. Never broke, never hummed, never did anything.
I got to tell you, the rear end thing, I'm
was
that
funny.
guy where
That was funny.
I would need every measuring fixture you could
Yep.
possibly have. I would be that guy,
man.
and I'd put those things together on the dot, and they'd make noise, and it would make me crazy.
And that was the gears.
Yeah.
And it was the gears.
Yep.
And But, because here's what happens. People that know how to do rear ends and really know how to do rear ends, they do everything by the numbers. They'll look at everything. They do everything. Then they look at the pattern. Like, no, this is no good.
Yeah, and then they go to their experience.
Yep.
Like a guy that balances cranks.
Yep.
They spin them up, and it says drill a hole here, and they're like, I'm not drilling a hole there.
Yeah.
Because then I'm going to have to drill a hole here. And then they somehow magically from experience, they go, I'm putting a hole right here, and they spin it again, and they need one more little one right next to it, and they're done.
Right. And the other thing I found today was valve springs. If you just searched, and these are, and I'm not going to hate on the spring manufacturers
That
directly.
was funny.
Yeah.
Not funny, but funny.
Insane.
Scary funny.
Insane. When most things lately, with the exception of flat tappets, because there's reasons beyond that, when you put a valve spring in now, I'm like within 10 thousandths of physical measured coil bind. That's where I am. That's where most good guys are. That's what they would do. You read people today that sell valve springs in their book, 60 thousandths minimum. And if it's high RPM, 100, 130 thousandths.
Some of them.
You
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah, we don't. Our stuff, we're like 60 max.
Yeah.
60 max on duals, 40, 50 max on triples.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be there.
Duals don't like it. Duals, the high rate duals, the new stuff,
Right.
doesn't like to be as close to coil bind as some stuff.
Really?
Just doesn't like it.
What does it do?
They fail.
Oh, they fail. So you actually had failures with it.
Oh yeah, yep.
What
Yep.
kind of material?
It's all high silicon chrome.
Really?
Yeah, all of it.
And they don't like it.
No.
I haven't heard of any springs that really don't like it.
Well, the high rate duals don't.
That's interesting.
I mean, they don't like to be as close as some of the triples.
Right.
And it could be because the wire is so big in diameter, and the coils they don't get as close to each other.
Mhm.
It could be that. I don't know.
Well, most of the time, the guys that are making the outrageous numbers and they're doing things that most manufacturers wouldn't recommend.
Yeah.
Those are the secrets.
Yeah, but you see, the problem is when you call one of these manufacturers and you talk to a guy who knows something, they're like, no, don't do that.
It's crazy.
I mean, and it was forever, and I think, Tom, it was even in your catalogs or in some of your directions forever where it listed ring gaps, like kind of like the stereotypical ring gaps.
Still wrong.
Is it?
Well, in some of them, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can't, they got a calculation to do a ring gap.
Right.
And-
so the real world stuff is different than
Yeah.
manufacturer recommendation.
Completely different. I mean, to maybe not right in the power perspective and maybe blown up in the other side. Just,
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But yeah, that's bad.
Well, that one spring thing that I read that you sent, they were saying you needed to have 60 thousandths per coil.
I think that was just written incorrectly.
It had to be.
I think that's
Because first of all, it's a progressive deal. I mean, no springs are perfect. So you may have one that has 60 at the top and at the bottom and something more or less in the middle. And if you're going for a number that has to be like max 60 for all of them, you might be 300 away from coil bind. Like the spring's not even working.
yeah. Yeah, it's I took that as a mistake.
It had to be.
But I could see that somebody who didn't know something that, like, I
Would
gotta
go crazy.
Oh, I got to tell you one that was absolutely hilarious. We had done a set of, I think we just did the heads for the guy or something. I don't know. But we put a set of heads together. And what we would do is we would go through and we would batch the springs and see like what springs were like, where they were. And for a flat tappet thing, there's other things you got to worry about rather than getting close to coil bind. You got to worry about over nose pressure. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Right.
So what you might have is when you're running through the heads to figure out assembly heights, some heights will come out a little higher, a little lower, maybe exhausts are a little different. So you'll put the heavier springs there, depending on what you're trying to achieve. So the shims were all over the place, to make the heights what we wanted, all the way down to a 15. We always used to use 15s. That was our point of measurement. If we were 15 away, we'd put a 15. If you were, 30 away, you put a 30. If you were 20, maybe you throw a 15 in it, so now you're 5 away. Whatever will get you close. If you were within 15, that's what we do. This guy decided that he needed to check our work. Got the motor back, started to notice that there were different color shims under some of this. Went around and made all shims the same.
Oh, didn't measure? He didn't measure? Oh,
Made all shims the same. Well, they weren't the same.
right.
Well, they're not the same. There's slight differences in height as far as machine work. I mean, you know,
Did he
Yeah.
call first and ask?
no.
How deep the valve job is.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, this is he had come to us with something that was used, so it's already been through. Now,
Yeah.
I know you got the other guy that says, well, if you're using a SERDI, you know, you sync every valve equally.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, then what if you got a guy's got one fucking valve that's way deeper than you'd like everything to be? You'd rather have one bad cylinder than 7 more.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is, you know, you do what you can do. And the guy, he fixed it. Okay. You wore out a cam lobe next day.
I know that's right.
You know, I mean, just
You can't play with valve train geometry unless you know what you're doing.
That's
true.
You know, I've seen guys just take a 1.5 rock off and throw a 1.7.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Do you know what you're doing?
Yeah.
They're
No.
like, nah, just throw them on.
Yeah, the answer is
no.
And then they hit pistons.
Yeah, do not do that.
So, I mean, I could see your guys, you know, coming up and asking you questions. Look, I take up some.
Well, yeah,
God damn
yeah,
it.
they should. They should ask questions. But it just no. Listen, I got a lot of good questions, and I think we helped a lot of people. We sold a little bit of stuff, you know, based on our experience and what people say about us. But you know, I don't want to make more of it than it is. But we had some dumb questions. We had some dumb people.
Now, listen, anybody listening, and I mean, this is no secret because Tom and I have been at the opposite sides of things when things didn't go well.
Couple
I mean,
times, yep.
yeah, I mean, anybody could have trouble with any piece of equipment. Their pistons, and from what I understand, they've gotten even better, are beyond excellent. The Manley stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's really good.
Beyond excellent. I can tell you that Tom campaigned to get us to use his pistons in the circle track stuff. I'm like, no, because
For a long time.
yeah, all we knew of a Manley piston, and I mean, I'm sure people still say, well, you guys just use Speed Pro or TRW forging.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, everybody was thinking back to the old piston that was machined by Manley, but you look underneath, it said TRW, and you're like, what are you guys are just, yeah, whatever.
Right.
My dad took one of his pistons and we sent it to a very reputable piston company. We buzzed the label off the forging. So the guy didn't know who it was. And he called up, he says, can I ask you who this is? And I said, that's why it's off. I said, I want an honest opinion. He's like, honestly, in some aspects, it's better than ours.
Wow.
Yeah. And I said, it's a Manley. He's like, what?
And it was a big piston manufacturer.
Yeah, big.
I shouldn't say the name because that would be indiscreet.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah,
a big manufacturer.
Lock that out.
and he said, well, tell those guys they got a nice program there.
Yeah.
And then that's when we actually started to use them. So,
That's
I mean,
that's pretty cool.
yeah,
True story.
true story. And we laughed about it because when the guy called, I was like, why? What are you going to tell me?
Yeah.
I'm ready. And he's like, it's pretty damn good. And in some aspects better than ours. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
Yep.
I hear you.
So that's when we started using it. So yeah, I would hope that, you know, people would understand, you know, the level of your products. And if you got a lot of them.
They do.
Yeah.
For the most part, they do. But I mean, the kids that are just getting in it again, and that's why I'm saying I shouldn't say that they're dumb, and they're not. There were just some really dumb questions, but I guess that's to be expected. We get them at Chevy meets too, and you get them everywhere. But for the most part, it was good, and people do know that we're pretty much top of our game.
Everybody's got to start somewhere. Although the
That's
guy
right.
asking
That's
if a
right.
piston was a cylinder head,
And he should have started a couple years ago.
even Google would have helped him.
Yes. Yeah.
Even Google would have helped him. Just with the picture. All you just go to Google Images, and that'll give you an idea where the parts go.
True.
Hating on a guy. Now, did you have the same deal at Englishtown? Do you have a?
No. Well, no. We have a tractor trailer that goes to all the races, NHRA stuff.
Do you do that or no?
Yeah. I mean, I do, but this conflicted.
Okay.
So, and because it's our home race here,
Yeah.
we had 1 million people.
Wanted
So-
to go, yeah.
Yeah, so I did two days at Englishtown and 2 days in Connecticut.
Anything?
But I mean, I've been to Gainesville. I've been to Atlanta this year. I'll
Yeah.
go to Reading.
Yeah.
I go to plenty of NHRA races.
He's the man.
Yeah. Anything good, like notable that you saw?
Well, I mean, the pro stocks are still cool as hell. And back to spring, to coil bind clearance.
Yeah.
They go to 0.
Yeah.
Which we talked about long
yeah.
ago. They use flex as their
Mhm.
clearance.
You saying the
Like,
pro stock guy?
yeah, they
Well,
just
that's always cutting edge everything.
yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, pro stock is still a really cool class. I don't really watch the fuel stuff because everybody loves it, but it's boring to me.
It's gotten better, I think, because now they're making passes. They're not.
No, it's been great. I
Yeah.
mean, they really don't blow up anymore. I mean, they do, but It's very rare that you oil down a track.
Yeah.
I
I saw Force's daughter pop one,
yeah.
and that was they had like slow-mo, and that thing blew up, and you see the supercharger get sideways under the hood, and you see the hood panels buckle and rip and everything, and a little bit of fire, but all in all, very uneventful. I mean, the days of launching, I guess, the blowers up over the car and everything are just
No, they do everything they can to protect against that
Yeah.
because you know
Have
what
the
your
big
body,
straps on them too.
you know what your body costs?
Oh yeah,
Funny car body, $100,000.
Just the body,
Just the body,
just the body.
$100,000.
carbon fiber.
Well, I like them because you got the titanium, clutch cans. You got everything is so to the point of just going to blow up, but it's not. That's why I love Top Fuel.
Yeah, everything now is in blankets. I mean, it's amazing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but they've gone through so many years of doing this. They know what they can do, what the timing, everything. It's like how many it's going to last for this run. Take it apart. I love going in the pits and watch them tear a motor down
And put it back.
back together for the next round. It's
But
like,
you see, from a finesse guy standpoint,
Yeah.
it like wants to make everything as good as possible and find that 3 horsepower or 5 horsepower in a piston ring. And you watch those guys, they're one step short of dropping a piston on the ground and popping it back. I mean, it doesn't matter.
And they make 9,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's more than
That's
1,000
like-
per cylinder.
We had the conversation that if I told Anthony, hey, I got a piston ring that'll pick you up 10, dude, he'd be like, what are you, retarded? I don't know.
yeah.
I got boost. I don't need it.
So, I mean, that's like, and that's kind of how I was raised to look at fuel, but that's not to say that it's not amazing. I think it is amazing.
Well, it's amazing. People, the things people don't know, and this just came to me. I forget the number, but the engine going in a fuel car
Mhm.
only completes like 800 revolutions going down
Yeah.
the track.
Yeah, somebody told me it
It's
might have been you,
Alan.
Tad.
Alan was
It's a
big on that.
ridiculous number, and they really stay at like nearly 1 RPM. The window is like from 82 to 8,500.
Yeah.
And they just keep adding clutch.
And they figured out like how many power pulses are in the motor
Yeah.
to go down a track. That's, I mean,
And the time, how much clutch, how much pressure, everything, weight. It's just every inch of the run
it's all science.
is there. Yeah.
yeah, it is pretty amazing. But from my perspective, doesn't do it for me. I'd much rather watch Pro Stock. And I did actually catch some Super Stock stuff. I watched, I think it might have been on Small Block Posse, maybe. Might have been on smallblockposse.com. Somebody put a link of Super Stock up.
Oh yeah,
And I watched it from
Yeah.
there.
I saw that.
And I watched, the cars leaving, and I'm watching them. And I watched a couple Mustangs make some really nice passes, which, of course, the Chevy guy kind of pissed me off.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
I mean,
Well, what's cool? The fuel guys, and this has nothing to do with racing, but there was a YouTube video that I watched a couple weeks ago where they were at a national event and a funny car was going down the track, and a girl had her camera on her soda sitting on the stands. And when the car went by, it was just blowing soda all over the place just from the vibration. It's just crazy.
Well, that's what I love. The decibel. What is the decibel amount when one of those things goes by? It's like time stops as it goes by.
It does. It's like a movie.
and that was one interesting thing about fuel cars, and Crunch probably knows. Like the first time you took your son someplace where there was
Yeah.
a fuel car, to somebody who has never been near
Scared
one,
Oh, yeah.
Scared the mess out of.
yeah, they're like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
People could never understand. Like I remember the first time I went, I guess, with Susan, and she wasn't around a fuel car. And, one started, and she's like, what the hell? And then, quick blip of the throttle. I said, wait till they make a pass.
And
You're not
don't
gonna
breathe while you're at it, because if you get an inhale that nitromethane, you're going to be
Yeah, you can
dying.
Feel, you can feel that in your chest when they do.
The yellow cloud.
Yeah. So no disrespect meant to the fuel guys. It's
Oh, hell no.
definitely an art.
Yep.
But the people I will disrespect.
Yes.
Here we go. Mike's hatred comes to the surface again. I'll watch any kind of racing. Just about. I did find one this past weekend that I will not watch it again.
Well, there were some rumors about tractor pulling.
Hey,
But-
There's tractor pulling. You can still kind of. I mean, look,
Hey,
that's a little more
I've
hillbilly.
seen tractor pulling, and I watched it. It was cool,
Yeah.
yes.
especially
They
the one with 2 motors.
Yeah, they do make some power.
Wow.
But you found your ultimate hatred.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
I
right.
did.
Far away.
It was I think it was Sunday, and I was just sitting here, looking through TV, see what's on. I don't know whether I was done for the day or whatever it was, and I happened to catch my eye. It was some kind of series. They're European touring cars. Maybe it wasn't European touring cars because McLarens were in it. No, they were McLarens.
German touring cars.
Yeah, but touring is usually like sedans.
Yeah.
So this was, but it was a European race, and they were racing like in a road course in a road.
Right.
So I'm like, that's cool. That's coming on next. There's something in the guide that says auto racing from Road Atlanta, and I was like, oh, I got to watch this. Formula Drift.
Uh-oh.
Formula drift,
Yes.
as in drifting.
Yes.
Formula car.
Yes.
Formula One car.
No, not a Formula One car.
Not
They
a Formula
just
One car.
call it Formula Drift.
Formula drift.
Now look.
This is bad.
Now listen.
This is bad.
I understand. We're all car guys.
This
I
is
get it.
bad.
But this, I think Tom hit it right on the head. And I probably shouldn't get you two under the bus because I know you probably got some customers.
Yeah, we
this,
do.
But everybody likes what they like. I don't like this. This is like Tom said it. Then I'm going to throw you under the bus.
Yeah, go ahead. Whatever.
I
said it was like, what did I say? Gymnastics?
Yeah, something.
Something like that. Tom said, it's more like figure skating. And
Yeah.
it is, because this is not about how fast you go. Has nothing to do with it. It's about what the judges think of your performance. Now, I mean, I swear to God, there is not anything here on who gets to one end first. There's not. There's racing. There's usually a start-finish line, and it means something.
This is about style.
Yeah.
In drifting.
Yes.
Yep. Smoke and style.
Yeah.
Style points.
Your prancing car.
They got no game, bro.
I feel like I lost like 2 minutes of my life. I can't get back.
and I turned it on because it was Road Atlanta, which I've been to. I was there with motorcycle stuff, and I was there with car stuff.
Right.
And we actually play it on the Xbox game, with steering wheel and pedals, and we got the real shit, like the real stuff. And
Drifting.
no, not drifting. We race when we play an Xbox thing. But I turned it on. Now I'm kind of committed because it's only a half-hour show. Thank God.
You were committed.
Yeah, because I wanted to watch what was coming on next. So I stayed there. I didn't want to get stuck in a Big Bang loop
So
on
how
Sunday
many-
night or some shit.
How many minutes in before you decided, oh no, this is
I
bad.
watched it to the end because it was almost like watching a train wreck. You had to watch it. And I was hoping there was going to be some redeeming quality about this, but do you know how this works?
No, I'm saying, but did they have people standing there so they could drift through them and around
No.
them, make
No.
it exciting? Like you might just kill somebody?
No, not like that.
No.
No.
Listen, here's how this works. And
Or is that my warp sense?
That was a little warped.
this is just me trying to
Been sitting
explain
next to
this.
Tad too long.
Yeah. This I'm trying to
Well
figure
said,
out.
Tad.
I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to be able to explain this right. So if a drift guy hears this, he might be like, "Look, you're an idiot. It's not how it works." But I'm pretty sure I got a good handle on this.
Okay.
One guy gets to lead one time. There's something called an initiation zone where they initiate their drift before the corner. So that's where the guy gets the car sideways. Now the guy following him has to mimic, I guess, what he's doing and be as close to him as possible without contact.
So now you're talking about synchronized
Synchronized
yes.
figures. I
Yeah.
mean, drifting.
synchronized drifting.
Yes.
All right.
So
I've
now,
had enough.
now,
I've had enough.
I've had enough.
right. One guy follows the guy all the way to the end.
I know what you're saying.
And then the other guy goes, and then the other guy's got to follow him, and then they decide who was better at following and who was better at lead. Dude, sorry,
Like-
stupid.
Like a top and a bottom?
Maybe
Oh,
there would be a
Lord.
top and a bottom, or a front and a back. I don't know.
Something.
It just doesn't sound appealing to me. I mean, we can't hate but so much because if it's a sport, they're making money at it. They have professionals.
I'll tell you, they have professional cars. They have professional engine builders. They get crazy crowds. They really do.
I'm sure they do, and it is
And the tire manufacturers seem to like it.
Well, of course, I
Well,
think they
of course.
love
They made it the power and speed.
it.
Yeah.
Some kind of way. Michael.
that.
Yeah,
That's true.
Wonderful.
Oh, happy belated birthday.
Yeah, happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
Why
Thank you,
didn't anybody call yet and sing him happy birthday?
I don't know. We got a few people on. There's not as
908
many people.
751-0211. I offered up a Power and Speed t-shirt
Yeah.
to the best rendition of Happy Birthday to Mike.
I
I
brought that
didn't
up,
even
too.
know we had one.
What?
So, a T-shirt. Like nobody even informed me. Of
By the
these
time they
t-shirts.
get
You didn't
it,
know
it'll
that?
be another
No.
birthday.
Yeah.
I posted up that I haven't seen it yet, so I want somebody to call so I can see this T-shirt.
Well, Crunch and I designed it, and it was going to be a surprise.
Oh, really?
No, I just made that up.
Okay.
I was sitting there like I wasn't going to look at you this time. I was going to just look away.
Now, last week the live listeners were our highest record ever, which
Right.
I was shocked at. And again, we don't expect a ton of live listeners
No,
for this because it's
not
a
the idea.
podcast.
Not the idea.
Yeah. But your controversy, that brought a
good.
lot of live listeners in.
Oh,
So I'm wondering
okay.
if you could abuse some more people somewhere along the line. Help get the word out.
Yeah.
Well, we will. You know, we have followers coming on slowly but surely.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that we are car guys, and we hit a lot of angles of automobile, this, that. So
You
I see it,
took some more flack about that, huh?
Yeah, the guy called me. You remember the one that called?
Yes.
He finally called me, and we talked, and we settled up as men so that
You
from
kiss and
here
make
on
up?
out.
You kiss and make up?
No, I wouldn't say that, but I respect the phone call very much compared to the previous situations we had on the internet. See, when you're dealing with someone on the internet, you don't know who you're talking to. So
Mhm.
the things that he was saying to me, he didn't know who he was talking to.
I thought he was pretty straight when he called.
I did too.
Right. Well, he wasn't that nice ever before.
No.
When he called that time, I was surprised he was that nice.
Yeah, no,
You
he
should see the stuff
he
that
showed
types
some
to me.
restraint and he showed some
Yeah,
class,
'cause he
which
types-
was cool.
Yeah,
It
he
was
used to
very
type
cool.
some real serious stuff to me, so that's where I got the disrespect aspect from it. So I didn't care.
I don't know if I would have been that nice if I was in his shoes.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, we're cool now.
I'm just
Everything's
saying.
good.
Yeah,
Everything is good.
Guys, Fly Tie, he was good.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
I actually sent him a text afterwards and thanked him for being on the show, which
Cool.
was nice because I mean I appreciate it. But
Yeah.
man, those guys on fucking Yellow Bullet, they are ruthless.
They've always been, man. Yellow
Yeah.
Bullet, that's their reputation.
Yeah, but Yellow Bullet, you have to have thick skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't
See,
give
it-
a fuck about those idiots.
Yeah, but
well, we knew that.
I'll tell you this, man. In drag racing, I've met. You know, you meet all races of people.
Yeah.
We get along as all races of people with the common thread of drag racing, the love of the sport.
And what is Yellow Bullet?
Yellow
the cage
Bullet
where all the
is-
racers go to just be
man,
dickheads?
Yeah.
Listen, there's stuff
Pretty
on
much.
there. There's stuff on there. You have to have thick skin.
Yep.
You know, you have to have thick skin because they talk about everything from politics, religion. They just put it on there and let you just
People-
go for
Well, isn't there a thread where you could post your naked girlfriend?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was hoping that they want the real girlfriends, but I guess I don't know.
No, some of them
Yellow
are.
Bullet is a different place, and it's packed.
It sure
that's a lot
is.
of people.
It's an alternate universe.
And I got to tell you, it's definitely a product of its own success because if you go to look at something, it's gone.
Now,
Like it's
well-
3 or 4 pages deep.
right.
yeah.
Well, now I want to tell you guys when we were running up and down the East Coast with the Legend Killer back in the day.
Right.
I had an argument and a topic on Yellow Bullet that went a lot of pages and a lot of time. That's how I got introduced to Billy Glidden, the
Right.
real one. So on that same topic, John Forrest came in and spoke in that topic. So people were like, I can't believe he came in. It was him.
What the fuck did he care about a street race?
Well, he used to street race. That's what
Yeah.
he came in and said. People didn't know it. Then all these other names started coming up. And that's how they knew it was legit. So I was bragging back then. It was years ago, but I was bragging. I brought Mike Hill to Small Block Posse. I had John Force in my conversation over there, and then I have the picture. I'm going to post it tonight when I finally met Billy Glidden,
Right.
and he chased me at Englishtown because he was like, "Boy, you talk so much shit." You know, it was for me. It was good because this guy is an icon. His dad is an icon. You know.
Billy Glidden won Pro Mod
Yeah, I heard
this weekend.
I heard.
He's a bad dude.
Yeah. No doubt.
He can drive.
But with all that being said, man, those guys tore you up on Yellow
Oh yeah,
Bullet.
I didn't even go back and forth too tough with him on there about that.
Well, you couldn't, man.
Well, I mean, you know, they're not grudge race for cash friendly anyway. But the top of the top guys who class race, match race, and whatever else,
Right.
you name it, those top guys are on there on
Yeah.
Yellow Bullet.
So is that more of a class racer forum type
Yeah.
place?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah, and then who's who of everybody in the country,
Okay.
you can find them there.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see everybody. Anthony's there.
Yeah.
I just named John Force. I mean, Coletta. They're
Yeah.
all there.
Well, I think what happens with a lot of those things is that
Brian Troopy.
I doubt it. I don't even know he would. Nah, he'd never go there.
You don't think listen?
But I mean,
Yellow
look,
Bullet is
I have gone to look at Yellow Bullet when there was something that happened, like with Anthony or something. If I was trying to find information, so you can bet your bottom dollar that probably anybody that races or wants racing information will go there.
Yeah.
Might not post,
Right.
but I mean, we know it from the stupid Circle Track forum that we're involved with. We know the people that go there, and they don't post. But everybody goes there because a lot of times if a driver or somebody, higher up in the sport is getting hated on, they'll call me. It's like, what the fuck's going on over there? It's like, oh, it's accurate, isn't it? Like, well, yeah. So what do you want me to do?
Yeah. They want you to take stuff down or put stuff up or
Yellow
intervene.
Bull is rough.
What's that, a message up there?
I don't know.
Yellow Bull.
It must be
Tough.
something.
Yellow bullet is proof of piranhas. They will feed on anything.
Yeah.
True that.
That was pretty good, though.
That's a little harsh.
Who wrote that?
I don't know. Oh, Jeff.
Oh, okay.
Is that Jeff Hester?
Yeah. If he's got a screen name, he could send that to us so we can make sure the yellow bullet says hi to him.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they are rough. It's a very unique place. But
we
yeah,
should have got him to post on Yellow Bullet that we were going to.
I don't know if Jeff's on Yellow Bullet or not. I'm
Why,
not sure.
I don't know why Yellow Bullet would be so pissed about us posting that we're going to be on.
Well, I mean, we do the same thing because like somebody's looking for free bounce, and I get it. But I mean, we're not looking for bounce. We're not trying to make any money.
No.
I mean, we're not posting this that like, it's like, hey, join our podcast and
But
come here for a commercial. No.
They're going to want us, though. Power and speed.
Someday they're going to want us.
That's right.
Yeah, and look, if it happens, it happens. But we're not actively soliciting advertisers.
Ted?
Yes.
Say something, dude.
I went on to Yellow Bullet because I was watching X275 racing, and I wanted to get a little bit of an insight as to how they're hooking these cars up. Because I saw an S10 at Englishtown. I couldn't believe how fast that thing was, and he was the record holder. And he said, "No, I just have slapper bars and leaf springs in the back." And I'm like, "How on earth are you hooking up with leaf springs on an S10 the way you are?" And of course, he's not going to let his true secrets out.
Right.
I would think, but I was just watching it on that, and that was years ago, and
What did he say?
well, I didn't talk to him. I was just watching because I went on there with my import name, and of course you get pounded on for having an import name.
What's
So-
your
What kind of import
What's your
name?
import
Like
name?
Sergio
No,
Hernandez?
2002 WRX STI.
Oh, okay, that kind of
and they're like, "Oh, what the hell are you doing here?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just here watching." Like
They call you
the-
Racer?
yeah, not there's some racers are nothing, blah blah blah. It's like,
Oh.
yeah, but
I have a correction.
Huh?
Jeff might be worried about retaliation. He did not post that. Another guy posted it. I don't know.
Oh.
I can't read his name. My eyes are shot, dude. I can't see the computer.
I
from that
wish these
far away.
people would call. I like when people call.
Well,
I've seen-
Tad just mentioned stock suspension on the
Yeah,
S10. Ron Rhodes has a 68 Camaro. It's red with leaf springs
Right.
and cow tracks, and he goes a 1.03 60-footer with drag radials.
Yeah, so I was looking at. I was like, "How are you doing that
Wow.
with an S10?" It's like,
You think it's because it's red?
Well, he came a long way, but that just goes to show you how they've come a long way with stock suspension.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, and like places like going to Yellow Bullet to look at like certain aspects and to just maybe learn a little bit. And I agree.
You can learn from there.
Yeah, I agree with what Tad said. Yeah, you can learn from there, but hold on. I got to get on a guy in Yellow Bullet. And yeah, I don't care. Post about me. I don't give a shit, you monkeys. It doesn't matter to me.
You can't say monkeys.
Why?
You don't have a list no more, right?
No,
No,
that's
there's no one. Listen, there's some guy in there.
matter. Never mattered to him anyway.
He takes his oil pan off, and there's a shitload of copper in the thing. It's a thread going on today or something. There's like copper and pieces of bearing, and it looks like there might be a piece of a Torrington bearing. And the guy's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Dude, really? Maybe you should Google bearing clearance and at least start there." So you get some misinformation, and then because you undoubtedly, if somebody read that, you'll find out the next thing. What happened when a guy followed the Google directions?
Yeah, right.
I was like, I'm reading through this, and the guy's saying it ran great. And the greatest line, if anybody on Yellow Bullet is listening to this, and they're the ones that said this, please call me, because I'm sure it's an old thing, and I've never heard it before. The guy wrote, "Dude, you're lucky. You were moments away from an oil pan failure."
That is awesome.
I laughed out loud. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I mean, I understand what Todd's saying. You go there, you look for some tech information, and sometimes people aren't going to post
what their true, their secrets are. But I with your getting back to your plastic gauge stuff, I was on a Lincoln board, and those motors are very, very tight tolerances, very hard to assemble. And I'm talking to if you don't use get the bearing clearances right. He goes, "Yeah, that's why I use plastic gauge." And I was like, "Really? You want to use a dial bore gauge? You want to do it correctly?" He says, "I work on transmissions for the big three. I know what I'm doing." And I'm like, "Are you using plastic gauge in transmissions? What are you talking about? You're putting these engines together." And he told me when we made the 1,000 horsepower 5.4 when we assembled that motor for JDM.
Oh, for
Yeah.
what a JDM says,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he's like, oh, the only reason your motor still together is you probably put big clearances on, like 5,000 clearances on. I'm like, your motor will grenade if you put big clearances on. You have to do it correctly. And he's like, you don't have any proof. I was just, forget it, whatever.
You shouldn't even talk to people on the internet. Don't argue with them. Don't talk
He's
to
like, well, tell me how to do it. I was like, I'm not going to tell you how to do it because you're not going to pay us to do it then. It's like that simple. It's like, I'm not giving you secrets because we know how it works. You don't. That simple. Anyway.
them. You're nuts, Ted. You are.
No. People, I want to know how you do it. I was like, too bad. You got to pay me to do it, period. I'm not telling you how we do it. It's a secret.
There's
And the secret's good clearances.
I know that speaking to a very good crank manufacturer, we had a discussion for a different reason, looking at oil temperatures. What drives oil temperatures up and down, and why some circle track guys have trouble, why some don't. Is there an effect in clearance and oil temperature if you had more clearance and physically move through oil through them? Because oil's a coolant.
Yeah.
So if you have more exchanges of a coolant through an oil cooler, does that assist in lowering temperatures? So it was funny. We talked to crank guys. I said, do you like to be looser or, on a tighter side? Of course, we all have our range that we know would work. And, some guys will delve all the way down into the, 1/8. I mean, I've heard these insane numbers on small journals. And, okay, if that's where you want to be, that's good.
Seems tight.
Seems tight, but I know people 1/8, 1/9, and they say if everything's perfect, it'll work.
Steel rod stuff?
Yeah. And you know what they said from the crank manufacturer? Very rarely does somebody blow something up for being loose. And he's like, but
Right.
always too tight is bad.
Yep.
Well,
Every time.
Yeah. So the plastic gauge thing, again, back to that. If you know how to use it and like absolutely no oil, everything's clean, everything's perfect. It's better than nothing.
Well,
It really
the
is.
problem is they're putting up videos off of YouTube, and it's of a guy with a junkyard motor taking a main off, slapping plastic gauge on. It's like, yeah, but you got oil on the other side. It's like you're just testing a motor, see if it's going to blow up or not.
If a guy's taking a cap off a junkyard motor, you shouldn't be talking to him anyway.
Well, I'm not. They're putting in their post. This is why we do it because look, this guy's doing it, and it's like, yeah, he's doing it. You're following a guy in a junkyard.
So I guess what you're trying to explain is that this is why the information on the internet is bad.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Understood. It's a little bit circular to get there, but I got it. It took me a minute.
Boom.
Now, Tad, you did some research on the self-learning fuel injection,
Yes.
which I have officially dubbed a failure in Mike's world from reading what I have read. Can you correct me?
Well, they only explain how they work, which there's more models out there than I thought there were too. Besides MSD, Edelbrock, Holley, they'll have self-learning, and so they also go to the ones that it's a throttle body, or there's a multi-point. Like the MSD has a multi-point for the LS engines, which is very, very nice looking system, all enclosed, encased under the hood on the intake manifold. And then you can go to the ones that have like old Weber looking carbs and stuff like that. And they only tell you how it works, drive it around. It gets better as you drive it, but nobody's doing a test that I was able to find that's like a legitimate A/B test.
Whose was I reading about that I sent? Was it MSDs?
Yeah, MSDs.
MSDs, yeah.
Yeah.
I read about MSDs.
See,
And
I've heard none of you guys looked at the Holley one, huh? Because I've heard the Holley one is really good.
Well, I was looking. The Holley's got two different because Holley does the NASCAR throttle body, doesn't it now?
Well, throttle
The
body,
license-
throttle body. No, I don't believe they do. I think Delphi or one of them does the. No,
McLaren.
it's Holley.
Yeah, McLaren does.
I'm
That's
pretty
right.
sure. Well, it
does the ECU.
from the last time
Not
that
the
I
ECU, the throttle body itself,
Well, I
or
mean,
the carburetor.
The throttle body is just throttle body. I mean, it doesn't really matter who. That has nothing to do with the learning.
No, it's not got none of the. That's got annual discharge. They're talking about ones that have multiple injectors.
Well, if there's one that has annular discharge, that would mean that the injectors are in the throttle body.
yes,
Yes.
and that is.
That's Holley.
I mean, that's
is it Holley?
And
no,
they're-
no. Holley.
No, that's MSD.
Yeah, Holley has a full standalone, rail injected. They may have both.
Or is it fat? No, it's Holley.
The one that I looked at was MSD, and it did have injectors and what looked to be like a carburetor. It's funny, like it had float, like almost
Yeah.
would look like float balls and
Yeah.
injectors sticking out of the thing.
Holley, and they got the annual behind. They're injecting the fuel behind the throttle blades.
Okay.
They're talking about how it does a much better atomization, and I don't hate throttle bodies because my truck's got throttle body. It gets good gas mileage. It works. It's easier enough to swap on because there's so much intake manifold technology out there from carburetors. It's easy enough just to throw a throttle, a fuel injection on it as opposed to putting a multi-point and doing that much more work. Except, the MSD one's nice. You get a junkyard LS1, you put that on there, you're good to go.
But did you see, if you read about the MSD one, it's not as simple as you plug everything in, set a couple things, and push the button that says get smarter. It's not what happens. You need to put in.
There's not a get smarter button.
No, there's not an easy button.
Well,
on the
it wants the cam specs. It wants,
Yeah.
Well, it needs all those parameters to build the base map.
Yeah. That's what they say. You build the base map and then go out and drive. It gets better. It gets better, as you drive. And they're all saying that.
Listen, I'm not hating on MSD. If anybody from MSD is listening and wants to call in and defend their product next week or whatever, we'll be sure to talk to them. But I mean, from reading through their forum, and I understand that when you look on a forum, you see all the bad.
Yeah.
But there wasn't any good. There was no good.
I'm going to get somebody from Holly on the show.
Okay.
No problem.
Because we need to know the specifics on this.
I mean, look, you would think with the processing power we have today that it could be quite possible to make a very, very good self-learning.
Well,
yeah, because all it is really is a flow chart that the computer does.
Yeah.
Less processing power, but more programming power, like something that can work correctly.
Okay.
Well, well, there's the
He's lucky I didn't have the crickets keyed up.
You know what a mega
He
squirt
was
is?
going to get the
A
crickets.
what?
There's a thing out there called the mega squirt.
Can you never say
Not
that?
one of your bars you go to.
Can you
is it?
never say that again?
I'll say it because it's you can.
Was she the featured dancer?
You can download the free plans to build your own ECU for a fuel injection. From Radio Shack, which
Yeah,
no
I mean,
longer
I've
exists.
actually heard of mega.
And like people are always talking about, oh, my mega squirt, and I was like, yeah, but
isn't
how?
that a piggyback to put a turbo you can put a turbo on anything if you put a mega squirt on it?
I'm not sure if it's a piggyback or if it's also a piggyback or a standalone.
No, I mean it would be a standalone for itself.
Yeah, or you can piggyback. Well, you can. There's a lot of piggybacks out there for.
Yeah, it's not a piggyback, but wow.
Yeah, I was looking at that and I couldn't. And of course, Alan, our ex-engineer, oh yeah, I could build one of those things like that. And I was like, okay, I know to stay away from it then.
I mean, I know there's been some, talk of homebrewed ECUs, but I mean,
Right.
I think that we've talked about it before that the most advanced ECUs that are out there now are in the cars that you buy from the showroom.
Absolutely.
That like, if you take something like a Big Stuff, they're very, very good at specifically what they do, but they were never designed to be drivable and fuel mileage, and they
or
weren't
emissions compliant.
It's a rudimentary computer system to run a
if
race
they can
engine.
get the efficiency into racing, that'd be a plus.
Well, that's what Cup did, but Cup went with McLaren. I'm sure that their management's probably
pretty good.
It might not be, I mean, it might be pretty basic so the nitwits don't cheat. They might.
Well, it can't be too basic because they do have a lot of throttle position to worry about.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas when Anthony tunes his stuff, there's a little bit of pit drivability and burnout, but really it's the bottom row.
Yeah. And that's what Big Stuff worries about. They need it to be as good as it can possibly be in the resolution that they're working, which is going fast right fucking now.
Right.
I mean, and I'm not hating on their stuff. I
Wide
mean,
open throttle. No.
Those guys were the pioneers. I mean, I was with them when they were DFI, before Excel bought them and before everything changed 300 times.
Well, John Meany's done like 3 companies, and he's pretty much set the world on fire with fuel injection.
Absolutely. And he's one of the first guys I met.
Yep.
Wasn't Motec a big one back then too? Or
Motec is the biggest.
Yeah, but aren't they manufacturer supplied also? So
well, actually, Motec, their stuff is all high end. Like they'll make a box that literally plugs into a GTR.
Right.
And you take
works.
the GTR box out and plug theirs in, and it works.
Really?
Everything.
I just
Cruise control, like everything.
I like their digital dashboard that they had, like a S2000 had the tack across the top,
Yeah.
and all that. I was like, wow, it's nice, but I'm not paying $5,000 for that,
All right,
Yeah.
we got Jeff here calling in because he probably wants to defend himself that he wasn't hating. He doesn't want yellow bullet death threats. Jeff, you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm sorry I got the name. See, people don't understand. They probably have this vision that we're really sophisticated, and we've got really nice equipment here, but I don't know how half this shit works. I mean, I'm looking at Mixler, and there's a chat window, and a thing pops up with a red arrow that I ain't never seen before. So I clicked on it, and it opened up this other window, and I look, and Jeff's on the right. Somebody said something, so I said, oh, it came from Jeff. So that wasn't you?
No.
And he can barely see that far.
Follower. Definitely wasn't me. Oh, let me get this out of the way. Happy birthday, Mike. Now where's my T-shirt?
No, you had to sing
Yeah,
it.
that wasn't a song, dude.
And I don't blame you if you don't want to try it, because I was really hoping that nobody would call in and do that.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And
Yeah, he's 12 now.
yeah, no, I'm actually 31. Yeah, 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Shh.
I
I
just
might
turned-
have female listeners. We gotta be quiet.
I just turned 44.
Man, you're a lot older than me, huh?
Yeah,
Seemingly.
he's older than all of us.
Yep. So yeah, Jeff, I'm sure you've seen the shenanigans on Yellow Bullet and Crunch getting torn up and everything else. Yeah, those guys are rough.
I've been dealing with him for years. It's no big deal.
I was
Jeff-
going to say this is nothing new for Crunch anyway.
Yeah, thank you. Jeff, you're on Yellow Bullet, right?
Mm-mm.
No?
I go on there for information.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, same as me. It's because if you talk on it, then you're just gonna get pounded.
Yeah, I know how to hold the conversation over there. And I know when not to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't scare me. I don't give a shit.
We might have to start going on there.
And do what?
I don't know. Fuck with people.
No.
At least to bring people over, though. Maybe
Yeah.
power and speed.
Why?
I
So
mean,
they
power
can
and
hate?
speed, but
Looking
Well,
at
what-
people's girlfriends.
what's better,
nude.
hating? You know.
I was really thinking that we get some phone calls from
Wait.
them today hating on Crunch.
Wait. Doesn't somebody have another?
I kinda
have an
thought
email
that,
address?
too.
Another hater?
Yeah, I do.
We need haters.
Well, you see that, but you see that's kind of the thing. Like, I'm sure you know the guys Crunch that have posted shit to you.
Right. But I've been this is like ongoing for years. When we were on top of the game,
Yeah.
oh, it was worse then. But now I've been
But now,
inactive.
have you met any of these people in
Yeah,
person?
Yeah.
And have they hated in person?
No, they don't do that. in person.
Imagine that.
Well, when they walk up to me, they start looking at my arms.
Yeah.
Like everybody does that. They walk up to me like, "Oh, nice to meet you." They start looking at my arms. I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, 'cause you are a pretty big
If
motherfucker.
I was skinnier, you might have hooked off and started swinging. But now you look at the
No.
arms, you want to shake hands.
Know what I think it
Yeah,
is?
nice to meet you.
Know what I think it is? I think, honestly, it's just everybody's real brave on the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, whatever I read on the internet, I'll say right to your face. I don't give a shit. Knock
Me
me
too.
out. I don't care.
I would too.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's what men do.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm not a gangster.
Oh.
I'm just a heavy
Trashed
set
all the
dude.
people are not men on Yellow Bullet.
Oh,
boy.
No, I'm just saying. No. There are a lot of guys on the internet. Period.
Yeah.
That they're on the internet and they say some really tough stuff, and then when you see them, they don't even speak.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, come on, you know. So I make sure I don't say anything out the way because I'm everywhere,
I was gonna,
and you don't know who these people are.
Yep.
but in person, even with the race and stuff, you don't come off as hostile anyway.
No. And Crunch is,
Most of the shit talking is all in humor,
yeah.
Right.
or trying to get a rise out of somebody. It's not
Yeah.
hostile.
I have never even seen you,
On people.
like all the times in Newark and everything else, I've never even seen you upset. Never even seen you mad. I've seen you disappointed.
Oh yeah, I'm disappointed if I lost a race.
Yeah, but never hostile.
I mean, I slammed the guy on the hood that time for cheating us with the nitrous oxide, and then the week after he comes up to me and says, "You know, we cheated you." I said, "Yeah." Slammed him on the hood. Give me the money back.
But see, now let me get into that. Isn't there a stipulation that like you look, if like the deal is you get to look?
Yeah, it was a fair race. Everything they
Okay.
cheated us. They
Right.
actually won the money, so it was all legit. But you're not gonna walk up to me a week later and say,
Right.
"You know, I shot you and you didn't find the nitrous." I said, "Okay."
But
well,
see,
you just
that,
flew it.
but
It
that's
just
almost kind of
slammed
like
him on
you
the
telling a guy that, look, you know, this is the way it had to go down. I mean, if the guy's got to look and he's got to find it, that's part
Right,
of it.
that's part of the game. If you get cheated, you got cheated. That's it. I took the loss.
Yeah.
We paid off.
Yep.
Because we couldn't find it.
Right.
But then you just don't come up to me taunting me like, "Yeah, I took your money." Nah, we don't do that.
Yeah, no, that's fucked up. There's no reason to rub salt in the wound.
That's grounds for asshole.
All right, Jeff. Well, thanks for checking in and thanks for the birthday wish. I appreciate it, buddy.
You got it, sir.
All right, man. See ya.
Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Jim,
All right, Jeff.
He's a good dude. I've known him.
Oh, you forgot to get his address to send him the shirt.
He didn't sing nothing. So you ain't getting
Looks
it.
If he had started
looks
singing,
like Tad's
we
going to
would've,
get the shirt.
Oh
Tad,
boy.
you want the shirt?
Tad was singing before.
Well, I have the other shirt that you gave me and I wore it in here and upset somebody. So
That's right, you did.
yes,
What shirt was that?
Musey shirt.
Oh, it didn't upset me.
Wow. You give me a what? Wearing that, man? What the hell?
I was surprised he made shirts that big.
He was only
Well, he's
upset-
big.
He was
What are you
upset
talking
because
about?
he misses Matt. He lost Matt to music.
Yeah, Matt. We were just talking about him the other
Yeah,
day.
we were.
Really?
There's another story.
Speaking of shit show, Google shit show. Picture of him comes up.
All right. Anything else, Crunch?
Do we have time for this little conversation? I wanted
We got-
some opinions.
Plenty of time.
All right.
There is no time.
We got
limit
none
here.
but time.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Nowadays, these guys are going back and forth. I'm not a chassis guy. We had Tim on from Coast Chassis.
He's a chassis guy.
Right.
Yeah.
He would have the answer.
He is a chassis
But
artist.
I don't want
Excellent, yeah.
I don't want his answer.
Okay.
I want the regular guy that knows a little bit about drag racing or a lot. Tell me what the difference is between back half cars and tube chassis cars. Yeah, Mike, starting with you, birthday guy.
I would think that if I had to draw a definition,
Right.
this is like a rules question. Like if I had a rule book in front of me, I could tell you how I'd take it.
Right,
I
but we're
couldn't
not
necessarily-
talking about rules. Just tell me what comes to mind. Tell me the difference in back half car and tube chassis car.
My initial thought would be is that more than X amount of percentage of original frame is no longer in place. I don't know how you ever put a number on that.
And where do you start?
Well, here's where the problem comes in, and this is where the engine builder and the circle track sneaky guy comes in. Because if a guy says, "Look, you can't have a tube chassis. You have to maintain 24 inches of factory rail."
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you've still got that in a car, but everything's welded to it, and you know that's just another
And
thing.
that's how
in the
you
car.
do a back half.
right.
Right.
Okay.
And doesn't a back half go to the front of the back seats or something like that?
Well, I mean, these are things that you're going to ask me that I don't have a rule for.
I don't.
Right.
I don't either. But
Tell me what comes to mind, Tom.
well, I mean, back half comes. What comes to mind is the stock chassis from the front clip from the front bumper to about where the back seat starts, and then you have a new set of frame rails welded in. To I'm not a chassis guy, so
Right. So to whatever's there.
to whatever's there, and
To
it's,
the rear,
it's
to be
narrowed.
fabricated.
And the rear would be
Right.
so either a ladder bar or maybe a leaf springs, moved in,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
Well,
Tad, tell me what you think.
Well, are you talking about technical, or are you talking about somebody wants to race you? They bring a car up. It's a tube frame car to your back half car.
That's where
It's
I think Crunch is going.
That's
Yeah.
where I'm going with this.
Yeah,
but
that's
just
where
tell
I'm
me
like-
right now. What's
I'd be
the
like,
difference
no.
in your mind from back half car to tube chassis car?
Well, it's that's the same as I know I'm going to bring it up. Somebody's going to make his cricket sounds. I have a Subaru, a stock Subaru.
Oh,
It ran fast.
I'm getting the crickets ready.
My
Oh, you
friend,
got one too,
my
you dick.
my
We're
friend,
talking about back half cars.
my
Let's
friend
talk
has
about
a Monza. He
Right.
mini tubbed. I want to race you. It's like you're trailering your car to a track. I'm driving on the street on a car with air conditioning and power windows. We're not racing.
How fast does this car go?
What his?
That particular car. Don't say his name. How fast does it go?
I think mid tens at like 125 or 128.
On a mile an hour, I can fuck with him, but I can't get near him in ET.
Yeah,
You gonna run him with the vet?
Yeah,
Well, I,
I
bought
need a
all this
spot.
up.
Can you negotiate that for me? Because I like.
yeah.
to
We
fuck
can
with
we can
this
get
guy.
Crunch to negotiate.
Did we
That'll-
get the vet back with the clutch?
No.
We didn't get the vet
Well,
back.
if we can talk about that after you're done with your chassis shit, but
Okay.
let me rephrase.
Let me just say this.
All right.
The back half craze now that's
Yeah.
going on. When you look at these cars, nobody in their right mind is gonna think that these are back half cars.
because they don't have a big tire anymore.
No, regardless.
Yeah.
When you look at if they show you what's under there,
Mhm.
they're starting at the firewall.
Really?
Yes, to me that's not a
Some
back
of them.
half.
Now we're guilty too because we had a guy HD. You remember HD?
Mhm.
HD tried to cheat us because you're supposed to have the stock front frame.
Right,
So he had about 18 to 20 inches.
right.
So we came with like all we had was just enough to hold the A arm.
Okay,
You know, everything else was tube from that point back.
right.
So we went along with him trying to cheat us, and we just went a little further. So the trick was good in grudge racing for cash. The trick was good. There's no rules, no class racing.
Right.
But these guys now, everybody's calling the cars either pro mod or back half. Then when I'm looking at the back half cars, what's the difference?
I would think that if we're gonna go down that road, a
Mm-hmm.
pro mod car has no resemblance of a factory chassis.
Yeah.
It's not. It might have a factory floor plan
It's got nothing.
or floor pan, but it has nothing that came from the vehicle except for maybe the shell.
I thought they were like just door slammers. That's the only thing that resembles a street car. It's the doors open and
Right.
close.
Yeah,
That's it.
Pro Mod doesn't have any kind of factory floor
Right.
plan.
So
Floor pan or anything.
with a Mustang, where a tubular front end is considered stock style,
But it's not.
it's
See,
a tube though.
I know.
So now technically, you take that tubular front end, put it on the front of a Mustang.
Yeah.
Tube it from the firewall back. What do you have?
a really light, good back half car.
yeah, I mean,
right?
Well,
That's where
what
you're
they're-
going.
That's
right?
where I'm going with
Yeah.
this.
I would
yeah.
I
And-
would submit.
And you know why I'm going with this?
Because we're going to build one?
Because Phil Schuler, I'm on his ass.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The
This
car
little-
he has is the Shadow.
Right.
And this is the car I'm talking about.
Right.
The strut towers and all that look factory,
Right.
but we have tube everywhere.
Okay.
And he's claiming the fastest back half.
Okay. Here's what I would say.
Go ahead.
Okay. Here's how I would refine this a little bit more to bring it into our street racing terms.
Go ahead.
I would tell you that if a guy is going to claim to have a back half car, he's got a back half car and suspension pickup points and everything are mounted to factory locations. That nothing has changed.
No floorboard, yeah.
No tubular A-arm mounts or lower K-members, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The front suspension is like what we would say about a non-back half car.
Right.
Stock suspension. So I would say the same thing, stock suspension. So if you're telling me that he's saying that I don't have a tube chassis car, I have a regular floor pan car or a regular frame car, but I have all this tube stuff mounted to it, so that keeps it a plain car. Now that's kind of bullshit.
If I was writing the rules, what I would do is, like, if you had a Camaro and you wanted to back half it, you could cut the rear frame somewhere in the passenger compartment. You could narrow it, but it would have to have leaf springs on it still. You could just narrow them.
So the suspension would have to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's how back half cars started. Like
Yeah.
when you took
But
your
we
car to
used to
American
see-
Flyer back in the day.
We used to see tube chassis cars with different suspensions. So we've seen true back half cars with a 4-link.
Well, I've never seen
Or
a
a ladder
tube. I
bar.
never seen a tube car with a leaf spring. You know,
Yeah, they have that now.
I think
Well,
there are some because some classes.
like a double frame rail
But
car.
that's what that's what I'm saying. That's the trick that's going on now. Where
Yeah,
nobody has a tube car
yeah,
anymore.
that's a-
Everybody has a back half.
Well, that's a game.
well, it's a crock of shit because if there was a
Exactly.
rule written and they said you must maintain, let's say, 8 feet of factory frame rail. Well, the factory frame rail could be there, but isn't a structural member of the car. It's
Right.
just sitting there.
Yeah.
It's holding the body, and that's it.
So what's his deal? He's trying to tell you, I got a back half car.
Yeah, well, we in full Schuler. He's somebody,
Yeah.
And we just going at it. I'm waiting to crack his ass some kind of way.
He is somebody.
And he's fast. I can't lie. I won't lie.
They won.
He's fast.
They won Summer Nationals too.
Yeah, he's fast. And he knows his shit, Mike.
Well,
It's
if
not
I-
like I'm hating on the guy.
If I get my car back, I'll take him out for you.
Okay. That's right.
we gotta get you.
I don't know if I'm ever going to see that piece of shit again.
We got to get you a G body, man.
Yeah, we got to get
Back to the Malibu.
But I got to tell you, I found out that
Yeah.
Chevy 2 over there.
How much is it?
15.
15,000.
That's too much.
How nice is it?
That's too much.
It's not that nice.
Turnkey.
I don't care how nice it is because it all come apart
Yeah,
anyway.
true.
Yeah,
Turnkey.
but that's what I mean. For 15 grand,
I don't
it's too
know.
much.
The guy over there is kind of a crook.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Well, he's got a highway location. He's got perfect all the traffic going by, so he can charge
I
his
thought
price.
you were referring to the one in that episode that you
Oh,
were talking
hell
about.
no.
I was about to
15?
say, man, let's go get that.
I would have ran up there fast. Oh, hell yeah, that thing would be
Okay.
gone.
You're talking about the
one that's
blue
sitting down
one
on
too,
the road.
yeah.
The
He
blue
wants
one.
1,500.
15,000.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah, I saw
I
this.
thought you said it was a rust bucket.
We need a camera for the face change he had just made.
I don't think it's a rust bucket, but I think
It
it
needs
was
the paint job, body work. It needs that.
it was fixed up, but I don't know how
That's
well.
an $8,000 car.
Well, are they really $8,000? Because
That's what it should be.
Malibus are going for $8,000.
Yeah, but a Malibu's a better base car for what you want to do, and people know it.
And newer body.
But these things are from the 60s, dude.
I know.
I mean, people still want
nobody
those
cares.
things.
That and there's a
Who?
formula to make that car go fast.
who?
So
Who?
Anybody that wants a vintage car or a classic car or a nitwit like me that would love to have one.
well, like that guy that he took the video of with that turbo car that's in the 7s.
Yeah.
That Nova, that thing's beautiful, but
Those
nice little-
people are dying, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it's not kids with their imports.
So at any rate, back to the yellow piece of shit that's still missing from the garage.
I don't even want to talk about that thing.
Raytheon, that's the inspection agency for GM, the people that make missiles and missile defense systems. I don't know how to fuck.
they had to come look at the clutch.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
No, they had to be the ones.
I think the reason that Raytheon's involved is because if Mike gives too much shit, an F-16 is going to fly over and drop a smart fucking missile. on it.
Great. We're going to be here when it happens.
I've been targeted for a strike.
Oh, man, I guess I have to keep my eyes open when I leave tonight.
Well, no, what happened is there was a slight amount of damage done to the car because of what happened, going slightly off the driveway. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not like I ran over anybody. But what I did say to the people when I talked to them, I said, look, if this clutch is going to fuck up and somebody's rolling up on a crosswalk and there's 5 kids walking across, nobody needs that shit. I said, so I want you to take this seriously. I mean,
Right.
now, in fairness, most people that have had this happen, they've had it happen like at high RPM and they just take their foot off the clutch or they go to shift and it just never returns. Mine didn't do that. Mine did not do anything like that. My clutch was in the position where it should be. And when I went to step on it, went to the ground, just like that.
Right.
And that was after pulling away from an intersection by my house at, normal speed. I mean, like, my roads around here. It's
you're lucky you weren't pulling into the garage.
yeah, I would have
You could have drove into the kitchen.
it wouldn't have been that bad, but I mean, it would have fucked the whole front of the car up.
Well, it would have sucked.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this was completely, and like everybody says, well, what the fuck? The brake works. Listen, drive your car
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, magically, the clutch pedal disappears from under your foot. It takes you a second. I don't care how good a driver you are. You're not, conditioned for that.
Right. You're trying to assess what's going on.
Right. So these guys, they got Raytheon, who I guess they might have contracted with them to do QC or quality control or whatever happens to actually see
Or both.
or both what missile strike, I don't know, to figure out what happened. And they are an independent, I guess,
Contractor.
analysis company.
Yeah.
Like they look to find out the shit that happened. So the guy went there and looked at it. He can't tell me what I found, what he found. He did.
Classified.
Yeah, it is classified. That's actually what he said. He said it's between me and the client, which is GM, not me. So I said, well, is it an easy fix? Because I figured that would be an answer to tell me if it was master cylinder or if it was something deeper. And he's like, I can't really tell you that. I'm like, all right. He's like, but I can share some things with you. He's like, I noted that the car is in pristine condition, inside and out.
He's like, your car is yellow.
There's no prior damage, no, it's perfect. Everything from tires up, perfect.
So them trying to blame you is out the door is what
I would like to hope so. I mean,
Okay.
it's not like I was running things over. Get the hiccups again.
Jesus.
So then I get the call from the dealer. This is where it gets kind of funny. I don't even know if Tad heard this. And yeah, we're going to be a little longer today. So I had inquired about a new Z07 or maybe a Z06 with Z07 looks because I didn't want carbon brakes because they're ridiculous to replace. Just called the guy and the service guy got me to a sales guy. And I talked to the service guy about everything that happened. He's like, look, we can't touch it till they inspect it. It's like, I hear you. And I was like, well, is there a sales guy there that I should talk to? Because maybe they're going to take this piece of shit back. Fine. I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, I got a guy, go talk to him. So I talked to him about the car for a little bit, priced it out of control. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're thinking, but that's not happening. So now somehow or another, he thought it was a good idea to call me up on Friday, might've been Thursday. I don't remember what day it was, and say, hey, listen, Mike, are you still interested in the Z06 or 7? I said, well, maybe. I said, kind of like caught me off guard here. And he goes, well, since your car is not under warranty, I figured this would be a good time to just get out from under it. And I'm like, what?
Pardon me?
Well, yeah, I heard they're not going to warranty. I said, let me tell you something. And I almost said something that in today's climate involving violence and other things you could do to people that would undoubtedly have had the police here, maybe Homeland Defense. I restrained myself. I was so happy that I restrained myself. So I said, you have to have that wrong. That car from it's over 10,000, but it's under 15,000. There's no abuse. The tires ain't bald. There's nothing wrong with that car.
Right.
How could this thing possibly not be warranted? Well, I don't know. That's just what I heard from the service department. I said, well, you better figure out what the fuck is going on over there. I said, and I'm pissed. I'm out of my mind. And I said, another thing, you stupid mother. It's exactly what I said to him. I said, you're calling a guy to tell him that his car that only has, under 15,000 miles now no longer has a warranty and it's not going to be covered. That now would be a good time to hit him up to buy a new car that was, going to be very expensive.
Same kind of car too, by the way.
Yeah. From the same manufacturer.
From the same dealer.
Because everything is just so wonderful with that one. I'd like to have another problem.
Car salesman.
Called GM. The lady was she goes, listen to me. Listen very carefully. We didn't talk to anybody. We don't have the report back from Raytheon yet. I don't know what the hell's going on over there. The guy should have never said that. I hung up with her. The service guy called me. He's like, dude, I don't know. Don't ever listen to a sales guy. They're all full of shit. They don't know nothing. I'm sorry. I mean, what a fucking disaster.
What's that guy's name? Let's mention his name.
I can't remember his name.
Wow.
His name is like Bag of Hammers or something.
So that's where we are right now. And I did get the call today, the voicemail that says your Raytheon investigation has been submitted and we're reviewing it and we'll get back in touch with you soon. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
And your car is still
Fingers
yellow.
crossed.
So bottom line is still no car.
Okay.
Whatever. I don't even care.
So when you get yours back and I get mine back, we're going to race and then we're going to sell them both.
I'm going to video it.
I just like to hope to me we could race and we could crash. And
Okay.
I
No
mean,
crashes. No
Better yet.
crashes.
God, it
We
just
just want a nice little race there.
I-
At the track, at the sanctioned track and everything.
no,
No.
no.
We're just saying that. We're just saying
I cannot get. Well, see,
No,
that's
we're going to race in Mexico.
Yeah. We're just saying that.
I can't even go. I don't even know if I could leave the country. I mean, trust those.
He's missing the whole thing, right?
We do not condone
Yeah,
street
newbie.
racing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wink, wink. No. Well, what?
He caught on, didn't he, Ted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sharp as a tack, I tell you.
Sharp as a
No, the problem is that if you take one of these cars to a racetrack, which
Yeah.
mine has never been to. I mean, that's, God swear on my father's grave. This car has never been to a racetrack other than the roads of New Jersey. It has never been on a racetrack.
Yeah.
But people will see a car was taken to a racetrack. And they don't care if it made one pass. It's,
Boom.
you have no warranty.
Wow.
Yeah. Because, in fairness, people were taking Z06s and everything else to road courses, and they were launching the motors and
Yeah.
and then the guys were like, "Oh, look, we can't keep you didn't buy a race motor for the next 5 years. You bought a street car." But it is ironic that a company like GM will build in launch control so they
Yeah.
can launch on a floor.
And Ford put the line lock on the new Mustang.
Yeah.
So
But God forbid your rear end explodes in a Ford. They're like, well, we see you've used the line lock 3,482 times. You know what I mean?
You know what we ought to do? We ought to rent Corvettes from Hertz and go to Watkins Glen with them. Why couldn't we?
You probably could.
So let's do that. I'm not saying we as a joke. I'm saying we should do that.
run
Well,
a racer.
come on, this is power and speed. We got to get popular somehow.
Brian said he's the best driver.
Oh, well.
Well, he probably would be.
He probably would be the
Betcha,
best
yeah.
driver. He probably would.
In that stuff.
Just
And that's-
telling you what he said.
But he's not invited. So
That's one way to take
he's
him out
gonna
of
get
the
out
equation.
of the equation.
What would the rental car company do?
Why would they know?
Well, God forbid you fucked one up. Then what do you do? Because that's got to pierce your insurance policy and everything.
I
you
guess we'd
signed.
have to have an attorney read all the fine print. If it doesn't somewhere say on there you can't go to Watkins Glen, then we're going.
No, but I'm sure it says something.
Can't you buy the extra rider just in case?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
don't you
yeah.
think that somewhere in there's a clause if you're racing it or acting like a general idiot, this doesn't apply?
But then that's why
General
I made
idiot clause?
Yeah,
They
GI.
made the Hertz rental Mustangs back then. For what reason then? People rented them and beat the hell out of them.
I mean,
on the track.
I've rented several cars and bracket raced them.
Yeah,
Oh, bracket.
and I can tell you I've had some episodes with rental cars. I rented a Mercury MK
Something.
Z or X or whatever, and it has fiberglass skirting or something or composite skirting on the side. We went to the Grand Canyon, we went to Las Vegas, and the road was all gravel. And the guy in front of me is going like 90, flying around the gravel road. There's people stacked up behind me. What am I going to do? Am I going to slow down to 20 because I hear the rocks coming up? Dude, when I got back, the ground effects were like practically gone. They were just, and I'm like, holy
They were shot blasted off.
dude,
Wow.
like fuzz hanging
You're
off
like
of my
the
head.
rental-
So fucked.
You're like the rental car devil.
Yeah, and I'm like, I am so fucked. They never said anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I wonder about that shit. Ooh,
Well, we're going to have to look into that. That would be fun.
I'd do it.
Or at the very least, let's get a couple Corvettes and a couple
Listen, there's a
Camaros and
New
go to
Jersey-
Raceway Park.
There's a New Jersey Motorsports Park.
Yeah.
Right here. We go to Vineland. We
Yeah.
go race them there. Oh my God. Could you imagine? We can't fucking crash one of those, dude. That'd be so
No, you
bad.
couldn't crash
I'm
one.
gonna get a GT 5.0. Throw some nitrous on it. Rent a car.
Are you really a Ford guy? I
No,
mean,
no,
just
no,
I
no.
got to ask because a couple times you brought up the Mustangs.
No, the Mustangs look good.
They do look good. The new one looks really good.
Oh man, they look good.
Oh, back in the day, Mustangs, they're like belly buttons. Everybody's got one.
Well, the 4-door Porsche is growing on me too. So
Did he just really
Yeah,
say
man.
belly button?
I know.
Well, I was trying to
did
be
you say, Ted?
politically correct. All right, it's an asshole. Everybody's got one.
There you go.
Oh, that the music came in right on time.
That's
Perfect.
That see,
Thank
there's
you,
I have a
Tad.
when it gets too far retarded,
Yeah.
the outro music starts because they just know Tad's like off the rails. All right,
The Ford thing.
thanks for listening. Check us out again next week, Monday night, probably somewhere between 7 and 8. Anything
Good night,
else, anybody?
everybody?
Out of here.
Just good night.
I'm done.
Say goodnight, Ted.
Good night, Tad.
See ya.